Hello and welcome back to the another episode of Daily News Quiz Analysis for IAS Prelims 2025. It is 25th January today, and in this video we are going to solve different types of questions which are very much relevant for your preparation. Before we'll start solving these questions, I would like to give you the brief introduction about this initiative so that if you are new to our channel, you will get more connected with us. Basically, in this video, we will try to discuss various types of questions which would be framed from different sources. So depending upon the sources, we'll try to divide this discussion into three different parts. So in the first part of our discussion, we'll try to discuss questions with respect to current affairs. You know what we do? We take up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll try to break them down into the simplest language possible, and we'll try to derive the possible prelims questions which can be framed from those particular articles, so that it will give the idea what should be your approach when you are reading the newspapers, what are the important articles for your preparation, and how the questions can be framed from those particular articles. This is what we are going to understand in the first part of our discussion. After discussing the questions with respect to current affairs, we will shift our approach to the another part of our discussion where we will solve a static topic. What we will do in this part, we will take up a static topic from the Indian polity, as currently we are discussing Indian polity, and also in Indian polity we had reached till the office of president under Indian constitution. So we will take up a topic from Indian president. We'll discuss that and we'll try to frame a possible prelims question which can be framed from that particular article, and we will give the idea how the questions can be asked from those particular topics and how you should prepare for that. So this is what we are going to do in the second part of our discussion. So after solving questions with respect to current affairs and the static part, we will shift our approach to the last part of our discussion where we will try to solve some previous year questions. What we will do, we'll take up some previous year questions, we'll try to discuss them, we'll try to break them down, we'll try to understand the vocabulary, what the UPSC uses for framing your questions, we'll try to understand what are the different methods we can use if we don't know the proper answer to the questions, but still how we can solve those questions, and also we'll try to learn how we can implement this knowledge in the upcoming exam. So this is all about our initiative, what we are going to do in this video. Now, before we will start solving these questions, I would like to request you guys, if you are watching this video, please note down these questions. They are going to be a game changer for you guys. If you note down these questions, if you develop your own question bank, what will happen to you. When your exams are near, I'm talking about the month of May, when you are left with only few days, at that time you would want to revise everything what you had studied. You would want to go through static part, you would want to go through CSAT, you would have to go through CSAT, you would want to go through current affairs, you would want to go through the previous year question analysis, but time does not permit you. So what will happen to you? You will feel low in confidence. But if at that time you have these questions with you, you had developed your own question bank, what you will do, you would just revise these questions. These questions would definitely connect you with the current affairs. They will connect you with the static part. They will connect you with the previous year questions. So it is definitely going to boost your confidence before entering the exam hall. And also, as we had discussed, what are the sources of our questions which we are going to solve here. So there are chances that many questions can coincide, if not the questions, but the statements can coincide, if not the statements either. Trust me, these are the topics from where the UPSC is going to frame the questions. So be on the safer side, do note down these questions and develop your own question bank. Now, before we'll start solving these questions, I would like to request you one last thing. That is, please do subscribe the channel. When you subscribe, it helps the channel grow. Please do share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. And do hit the like button and do share your comments with us. What do you feel about the video? What else should we bring for you guys? And if there is anything to be changed, we will try to bring that for you guys. Now with this, let's have a look at the first question which we had brought today. So here on the screen we can see the question is with respect to Indian federal system. So why we had brought this question? Because there was a huge discussion in today's newspaper as we are leading to the 26th January towards our Republic Day. So there was an article about the Indian federal system which talked about what was the promise of the framers of Indian constitution, what we viewed our federalism as, but what we had reached to that. So what is the definition of Indian federalism, how it is different from the Western federalism, the federalism followed by the US, and what are the various challenges associated with it. It has highlighted all those things. So with respect to Indian federalism, we know that basically the word federalism is not mentioned in the constitution itself. What do we believe in? Our federalism, the style of federalism which India follows is more quasi federal. We are more quasi federal. We have the unitary bias in our system, that even though we have the central government, we have the state governments, but at the end it is the central government who will always prevail. We have the federal structure, but it is not as federal as in US, where in US we have states which are undestructible, but in India we have the destructible states. We had seen the cases of Jammu and Kashmir. So there are various concerns which the author raises here. So let's try to dig deep what were the various concerns he has discussed here. For example, first concern which he discussed was about the role of the governor, how often this office of the governor is misused by is is possibly misused by the center. Role of the governor, how the office of the governor is misused by the center, as there are various clashes between the governor and the legislative government, we can say, or the elected government in that particular state. Especially if I would like to remind you back few days when we discussed about the case in Tamil Nadu assembly, where there was a concern with respect to Tamil Nadu state elected government and governor, where governor did not give the introductory speech, which was very much compulsory for him. So there are various cases where we had seen the governor trying to jeopardize the system, the legislature, any law. If the center wants to frame, if the state wants to frame any law, governor will interfere and he will send that particular order to the president for his consent. So there are various chances we had seen that governor is trying to show the presence of center in states. So this is the one of the concern which was mentioned by the author. Then the another concern with respect to governor itself was the case of the hung assembly, where it is accused that governor, in the cases of hung assemblies, he will try to choose that government with that political party which is also in the center. So there are various chances that governor is misusing this position also with respect to hung assembly. And also we had seen, you know we had seen that central government is forcefully imposing its language in the states. These are some concerns where we see that the federalism, the meaning of federalism in India is getting washed away by the implements done by the actions done by the center, as we had seen various cases that central government is forcefully imposing any language. And also about the recent decision about the recent discussion about the simultaneous elections, as these simultaneous elections, they are going to hijack the local issues if these simultaneous elections will be conducted. So this would be also the one of the we can say one of the concern with respect to the Indian federalism, as it is not as strong as we see in the Western world. Then also there are issues with the fiscal problems, fiscal federalism, that often the states they are very much dependent on the center. They depend on center's grants. So we had seen issues with respect to that. We had seen issues with respect to states which are governed by different political parties and center being governed by different political party. We see clashes between the parties. We see also that there is north south issue, where with respect to population control, as south has done very good in population control, but the finances they get with respect to that is very low as compared to the northern states. So there are various issues which are discussed by this article itself. And also there is lack of self sufficiency with respect to the states. And also some different there are, even though there are tensions between center and state, there are also tensions between the states. Interstate conflicts are there with respect to the especially with respect to water sharing. With respect to Kaveri River, we see the tensions between Tamil Nadu government and the state government of Karnataka. So there are various issues which were highlighted by the author with respect to Indian federalism. What are the various drawbacks with respect to it? And finally, he came to the conclusion that even though we have the federal structure, we have the seventh schedule. Even though we have the seventh schedule which divides, which gives separate subjects to the center, separate subjects to the states, but if we will compare these subjects, we will find that there are more subjects in the center spot than as compared to the states. So it is definitely overriding of the center with respect to Indian federalism, and these are various concerns. So what is the draw? These are various problems associated with it. This is what, we had seen the issues of interstate tensions. We had seen the tensions with respect to center and states. We had seen that state being, state being taken, the status of a state, for example of Jammu and Kashmir, it was taken down to UT. So these are various concerns which the author has discussed with respect to Indian federalism. And itself, the federalism is not mentioned with respect to India in the constitution. It is the Union of India which is mentioned in the Article 1. We know that with the Union of India, with the Bharat, with the Union of India, as we had discussed that earlier too. So it is not the federal government, or we can say federal state. It is the the Union of India, which has the destructible states which can be destroyed by the parliament for according to what they think fit. So this is the discussion why we had brought this question here. So with this question we will try to understand more about it, the basic concepts related to it. So here the question says, with reference to the Indian federal system, consider the following statement. First statement: the Constitution of India explicitly uses the term federation to describe the nature of Indian polity. Totally incorrect. Federation is not used in the constitution, so this statement is incorrect. Second statement: with respect to federalism, the residuary powers of the legislation are vested with the union parliament. 100% correct. What are these residuary powers? They are given in 7th schedule of the Indian constitution. These are those powers which are not these are in these powers, there are those items which are not neither mentioned in the union list, neither mentioned in the concurrent list, neither mentioned in the state list. So they are kept for the union parliament. So this statement is 100% correct. Then the third statement, it says equality of representation of states in the Rajya Sabha is a key feature of Indian federalism. Totally incorrect. Even though there is the representation of every state in the Rajya Sabha, but the representation is not equal for every state, as representation would be very much dependent on the population of that particular state. So this is not true with respect to this is not true with respect to the Rajya Sabha, and neither with respect to Indian federalism. So statement 3, which is equality of representation of states in the Rajya Sabha, totally incorrect. Is a key feature of the Indian federalism. So with respect to this question, the correct statement would be statement 2 only. That is, and from the options given below, the correct option would be option B. So with this, I hope you had understood why we had brought this question, and you had understood the concept of federalism which India follows, which is described by various politicians, we can say, or various leaders or various educationalists as the quasi federal. We have the quasi federal nature. We are tilted towards the union. We have the unitary bias in it. Our status, even though we have dual governments, but the citizenship, there is only one citizenship in India, that is the citizen of India. We can't be the citizen of Maharashtra and at the same time be the citizen of India. That is not the case in our country, as we are seeing the cases in US. So with this, I hope you had understood the topic as well as the question. Now with this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought on the next slide. Here on this slide, you can see the question is with respect to competitive populism. So what is this concept of competitive populism? To make you understand that, I will give you an example. For example, there is a government which is giving a scheme 6,000 to every person per month, or we can say per year. That government is giving you 6,000, which is a freebie, the revdi culture. These are freebies, revdi culture, you would have understood. Now in this competitive populism, what happens is that there would be another party, when there would be elections, another party will come and they will say they are not going to end this 6,000 scheme, but what they are going to do, they are going to add extra 2,000. Then the third party will come, they will say we will add extra 4,000. So bring out the populistic schemes, focusing on these populistic schemes rather than focusing on the development. So what they are going to do, they are not going to end these schemes, but they will try to get the attention of voters by telling them that we are going to give you extra 6,000 in account or extra 8,000 in account. They believe in this revdi culture. They believe in this populistic schemes rather than any development, rather than promising them about the infrastructural development or educational development. They would talk about the freebies given to the people. So this is all the concept related to it. This is what the competitive populism is about. Why we are discussing this question right now here? Because as right now Delhi elections are very much near. Delhi elections, with respect to Delhi elections, happening in different constituencies, this competitive populism was in use, because we had seen even on the ads that particular political party, they are going to increase the income for the woman, they are going to give them freebies, and this is the culture which the political parties follow. And this culture, it has huge advantages as well as disadvantages, and if we compare them, the disadvantages overcome the advantages. Now here in this article, the author has discussed a few advantages which he had discussed, which are the directives in by the help of this competitive populism. By the help of this competitive populism, there is direct support that can be given to an individual. For example, if you are going to develop an infrastructure, if you are going to develop any road in a particular state, you are not going to help the individual directly, but through these populistic schemes, through this revdi culture, through this by giving these freebies, you are going to, at least you are going to directly benefit the individual. And also it is said that it is the quickest way to it is quick and very much instant. For example, by through this you can help any person to go, you can help any person to achieve the self empowerment. So this is the quickest way to do so. And also it is very easy to implement, because it does not take years of time. It is away from the click of the mouse, so it is very easy to implement. And also in this, there is very efficient targeting of the people. For example, if you want to target the woman of any cost, you can easily target them. You can take their Aadhaar cards, and it is very easy to do so. And also it gives a lot of freedom to the people when you give this money to them. But there are various concerns which the author has highlighted with respect to this populistic schemes, and these concerns are, as the first, it is very short term benefit. It is very short term benefit. Even though if you are giving 6,000 to a farmer, what he will do with those 6,000? He is not going to build any empire with the help of those 6,000. So it is very much short term benefit. He will you consume those, and he will not do anything with that. So very short term benefit. Even if you will go for other, for example, rather than giving 6,000, if you will give MSPs to his crops, if you will give him the market fairness, if you will increase his his sale money, if you will increase everything with respect to that, if you will give him if market is made easily available to him, that in this way it can help the farmers more than giving these 6,000 rupees. And also this populistic schemes, or we can say freebies, it can lead to the political tensions, or we can say scope of politicization. Definitely it has the scope of politicization. It is the vicious cycle. For example, if one party is giving 6,000, another political party, if they will come in office, they won't dare to end it, because they would understand that if we end it, the people who are getting these 6,000, they are going against them. So it is a vicious cycle. They will try to increase it. Third, under this scheme, the root cause is not properly addressed. What is the root cause that is not properly addressed? The root cause of the poverty, that is not addressed. What they are just treating the symptoms, but not the real issue. What is the real issue associated to that? And also it is unsustainable. And once this money is given, the people don't know where to invest it. People focus on consumption. And there are various other issues related to that which the author discussed, and almost every issue we had discussed here. Now I hope you had got the basic idea why we had brought this question. Now let us solve it and get more proper idea about it. Here the question says, competitive populism characterized by a political parties willing to offer increasingly attractive welfare schemes and subsidies, where the political parties compete with each other to offer increasingly active welfare schemes and subsidies, can have significant socio-economic consequences. 100% correct. In this context, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, it can lead to a race to the bottom. Correct. Potentially jeopardizing long-term economic stability. 100% correct. It can jeopardize long-term economic stability. Second, it invariably ensures efficient targeting of welfare benefits to the most vulnerable sections of the society. Even though it can, there is efficiency in targeting the welfare benefits to the sections of the society, but it is not that efficient always. So we can say it is half correct, which means it is incorrect. Third statement, it may incentivize political parties to focus on short-term gains rather than addressing the structural issues in the economy. 100% correct. This is what exactly it does. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code is option A. With this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought on the next. Here the question is with respect to the scope and interpretation of article 21 of Indian Constitution. There was a discussion on this article, how from the years when we had brought this article 21, how we had very narrow minded approach to it, and how we had elaborated, how we had extended the approach of article 21. But still the author here suggests that now we are in a way going back to that narrow approach, where we are not giving bail to the people, where we are not giving bails to the people, where we are where we are giving the preventive detention to the people without any reason, and they are spending, we have huge number of under trials. So in this way, what the author here suggests is that there are various reasons that we can say that today, after having this much understanding, after when we understood the Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India judgment, how we extended the approach of article 21, but still after having all this understanding, we are still very much confined. We are again going confined when we reject the bails, when there are huge number of preventive detentions, when there are huge number of under trials still in our jails. So with respect to this, the author suggests here, discussed with the rest, the author here gave us different judgments which had different meanings with respect to the article 21. So through this question we will understand it very properly. Here the question says, regarding the scope and interpretation of article 21, right of life and personal liberty of the Indian Constitution by the Supreme Court, which of the following statements are correct? First statement: the Supreme Court in Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India 1978 established that procedure established by law under article 21 must be fair, just and reasonable, moving away from a purely procedural interpretation. 100% correct. Earlier, why this why we had brought this question, earlier we have AK Gopalan, before this we have AK Gopalan versus state of Madras case. In this, the what does the this question was about the preventive detention. What does the court said here, what does the Supreme Court said, that we are not going to check whether whether the why you are detained, why you are in the jail. We are not going to check that. We are not going to check the law, whether it is constitutionally valid or not. But what we are going to see, whether the way in which you were detained, detained, the way in which you were detained, that at that time the law was followed. If there was any law, there were different steps, whether these steps were followed by the state authorities when they detained you. We will only check that. We will not check whether this law is constitutional or not constitutional. This statement was given in AK Gopalan versus state of Madras, and this was overturned by the judgment in Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India, where they found out that there is not just need to see whether the steps were taken correctly, but also whether it is whether the procedure was established, and also due process, to check the due process of the law, whether it is in line with the constitution or not. If first they will check the due process of the law, whether it is in line to constitution. If you are detained, is it in line with the constitution? If it is not in line with the constitution, then under Maneka Gandhi case you can be set free. So this was the whole discussion. Now we will understand this question in a better way. Here, first statement, as we discussed, the Supreme Court in Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India established that procedure established by law under Article 21 must be fair, just and reasonable. 100% correct. That is exactly what we discussed. Moving away from purely procedural interpretation. 100% correct. Second statement, AK Gopalan versus State of Madras case explained the ambit of Article 21 to include the right of livelihood as an integral component of the right to life. Totally incorrect. It did not allow it. It has a very minute scope of Article 21, where it said that the procedure should be established. It did not discuss about the due process, whether the procedure whether the law which we had established, is it fair, just and reasonable. It did not discuss that. So second statement is incorrect. Third statement, the concept of due process of law similar to that in the American Constitution was explicitly incorporated in Article 21 by the Supreme Court's interpretation in the Keshwananda Bharti case versus State of Kerala 1973. Totally incorrect, but it was a similar concept to this was given in Maneka Gandhi case. So statement 3 is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1 only. So with this, I hope you had understood why we had brought this question, because there was a discussion, even though we had increased the range of Article 21, but still we are seeing in our country that we have preventive detentions, we have bails are not given, laws are targeted against individuals if they speak against the government, and also we have huge number of under trials. According to the author, we should not, in our country, which is the highest, which is the democratic country, which is elected by the people, these laws should not prevail in our country. So with this, let's move to the another question and see what we had brought on the another slide. So here in this slide, the question is about the parallel missile. So see what does the question say. With reference to the parallel missile recently in the news, which of the following statements are correct? They are going to show it on the 26th January. It is a quasi ballistic missile. Basically, it is not fully ballistic, quasi ballistic missile. It takes a parabolic shape. About ballistic missiles, it cannot be this range, this motion cannot be changed, but it can be under quasi ballistic, it can be changed. It can be, we can have a specific target, we can change the motion. So with respect to this question, first statement is a surface to surface quasi ballistic missile with a short range, 100% correct. It is a short range, about 400 meters. It is deployed on the borders. Second statement, it is developed by the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, 100% correct, nothing wrong with this statement either. Third statement, it is designed to intercept and destroy incoming ballistic missiles. No, it is an offensive ballistic missile, not the interceptor. So this statement is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2. It is developed by DRDO. With this, let's move to the another question from the current affairs and see what we had brought on the another slide. Here the question is with respect to fiscal health index, as it has been released by the Niti Aayog. Let's see what does the question say. Here question says, with reference to the fiscal health index recently released, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, fiscal health index is released by the Ministry of Finance, totally incorrect. It is released by Niti Aayog. Please know that. This type of questions do actually come in the exams. So the first statement is incorrect. And to assess the fiscal performance of Indian states, that is true. What does it does? But it is not released by Ministry of Finance. It is released by Niti Aayog. Second statement, the index considers factors such as revenue mobilization, quality of expenditure, debt sustainability, fiscal prudence, debt index, and all that. So second statement is 100% correct. Third statement, fiscal health index aims to promote competitive federalism by encouraging states to improve their fiscal performance, 100% correct. And what are the states which are increasing in it, which are at numbers? It is Odisha, it is Chhattisgarh, and it is Goa. These are the top 3 states. So with this, I hope you had understood this fiscal health index also, which is the organization which releases it. It is Niti Aayog which releases this fiscal health index. So with this, let's move to the last question from the current affairs part. Then after, we'll shift towards this static. Here the question is with respect to the spinal muscular atrophy. Why it is in news? Because there was an article which suggested that there is definitely need of the center to help the people who are suffering from this spinal muscular atrophy. So let us see what this disease is about. Here the question says, with reference to spinal muscular atrophy recently seen in news, which of the following statements are correct? First statement, it is a genetic disease that affects the motor neurons, leading to muscle weakness and atrophy, 100% correct. It is a genetic disease. Second, it is caused by a deficiency of the survival motor neuron 1 SMN1 gene, 100% correct. Currently, there is no effective treatment available for SMA. No, you can go for gene therapy and similars like that. So this third statement is incorrect. Under this disease, if it is, it is very much genetic disorder, and it is one of the, because of this, infants die. It is the leading cause of death of the infants. They have problem in breathing, they have various problem, muscle weakness, difficulty in swallowing, slower reflexes, and difficulty in breathing. Because of that, infants between age 1 to 5, they die because of this disease. It is the leading cause of their death. So with this, we completed today's articles with respect to current affairs. I hope we had understood them. I hope there is no confusion left. If there is any, please do write in the comments. We will try our best to clear that. Now with this, let's shift our approach to the another part of our discussion where we will solve a static question. Here the question is with reference to the independence of the office of the president. As you know, we are discussing right now the Indian polity, and we had discussed various topics under Indian polity, and we had reached till the office of the president. You know, we discussed about the succession to presidency under Article 62. We discussed about the president's privileges, and today we have to discuss the independence of the office of the president, as it is very much important. So, how we can highlight that his office is independent? First, the first thing which we should know about the fixed tenure, that he would be there for 5 years. Whatever happens, he would be there. You know, if there is change of government, he will still be there. That means his impeachment, as we discussed, that it is highly difficult to impeach a president. Impeachment takes a huge time. It is highly difficult to impeach a president. So it shows that you can't be removed from your office, so you are very much independent. Second thing, we had seen his term is 5 years. We had seen his impeachment is difficult. We had seen he enjoys the judicial immunity from the criminal cases as well as from the civil cases, whether in the official capacity or the personal capacity. You know, for civil cases, as we discussed yesterday also, for civil cases, if anything he has done before being the president, then 2 months notice would be given to him. 2 months notice has to be given to him. So he enjoys, in nutshell, he enjoys the judicial immunity. He enjoys immunity against criminal proceedings. And one of the most important thing, the emoluments, the allowances, they are fixed by the parliament and charged on the consolidated fund of India. So it cannot be reduced. His salaries, his emoluments cannot be reduced. So it will remain same when he is in the office. So when you have all these things, when your salary is fixed, when your tenure is fixed, when you can't be removed, then you understand your position, you understand how important you are. Your office is important to our country. All the all the agreements are done on your name. So it shows that your office is very much independent. You are very much independent from the influence of different people. We know how he is elected, so it definitely shows how independent you are. So with respect to that, let's solve this question and get more idea about it. Here the question says, with reference to the independence of the office of the president of India, consider the following statement. First statement: the president is elected by an electoral college comprising only elected members of both houses of parliament and state legislative assemblies. No, it is not. Even though it is he is elected independently, but it does not show it does not support the argument with respect to the independence of the office of the president. So statement 1 is incorrect. Second statement: the president's salary and allowances are charged on the consolidated fund of India and are not subjected to vote in parliament. 100% correct. They are not subjected to vote. They can't be reduced. Third statement: the constitution provides for a tailored impeachment procedure for the removal of the president for violation of the constitution. 100% correct, as impeachment is very much difficult to achieve. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 2 and statement 3. So with this, I hope you had understood the process of impeachment also. Now with this, let's move to the last part of today's discussion, where we will see what question we have brought from the previous year question. This question is basically about the different states and their capitals. As they were in the news that time, this question was asked in year 2005. So here we can understand that we have to look at the current affairs. We have to understand which part of the world is important, where things are happening, and we have to understand, we have to go through, have the basic knowledge about those particular states which are in the news. What is the capital of that particular state? So with respect to that, we had brought this question here from the previous year questions, and we will see here what the question says. Here the question says, which one of the following pairs is not correctly matched? So which one is not correctly matched? About Nassau, Bahamas, 100% correct. That Nassau is capital of Bahamas. 100% correct. San Jose is the capital of Costa Rica. Correct. Balmopan is the capital of Nicaragua. 100% incorrect. It is not Balmopan. It is Managua. It is Managua, which is the capital of Nicaragua. Then we have Santo Domingo, which is the capital of Dominican Republic. So with respect to this question, the correct answer is option C, which is not correctly matched, which is Nicaragua. Here the correct, it is correct match would have been Managua, but in the question it was given Balmopan. So with respect to this statement C is the correct answer. So with this, what we understood from this, we have to understand, we have to look at the current affairs, what is happening in different parts of the world, and we have to understand little geography, which is the capital of that particular state, what are the important rivers there, what is the nearby ocean there. We need to understand all this stuff, then only it will become easy for us to crack the prelims exam. So with this, I would like to say thank you very much to you guys for staying with me. I would like to say have a nice day to you guys and best of luck.